Hi there, welcome to Eddie's Research. Before I start, as usual, I have my background of the previous video or previous bit of research that I did. This was obviously about the famous George Floyd. I say famous, it's not a good thing to be famous for. All I did in this research, if you want to have a look at it, it's not of is he real, is he fake, and there's been so many things about it all, there's people who say that obviously it's real, and there's people who say it's obviously fake. There's people who say that he's real, people say he's fake. So all I did for that one is I just looked at the location and the date. So basically, was it filmed where it said it was filmed, and was it filmed at the date it said it was filmed? I didn't go into anybody as such, no people, victims, bystanders, none of that. Just what you can see on the video. Anyway, that's the other thing. Now for this bit of research, it's about climate change. Yes, that big hot potato. Even with COVID floating around, it still appears in the news. But what I'm looking at isn't the actual claims or disclaims, because as usual there's always the fors and against for anything, but about the famous number. The famous 97% of scientists agree that there is a climate change. Now where did this all come from? Is it really all scientists? Is it worldwide? How did they ask this question? Well, at the beginning I had no idea, so I start always at the very beginning. Now I did a search for some sort of starting point, and I found a website from NASA. So here we are in NASA. Images there. The scientific consensus says Earth's climate is warming, and there is this statement. Multiple studies published in peer-reviewed scientific journals show that 90% or more of actively publishing climate scientists agree climate warming trends over the last century are extremely likely, always look at the words, due to human activity. In addition, most of the leading scientific organisations worldwide have issued public statements endorsing this position. The following is a partial list of these organisations, along with links to their published statements and a selection of related resources. I'll just briefly diverse of a second, or take a tangent. It's the word. There's a word there. It's the word likely. So I've mentioned this before in other research videos. If you or any videos, you can just use it in your normal day-to-day life when you're at work or something. If somebody tells you should do this, you should do this. If the government say, oh, you should, like at the moment with COVID, you should keep 2 meters distance, for example. If they say should, it's not law. You don't have to do that. It's not if you don't do it, you're not breaking any law. If they say you must, then you need to have here with the word extremely likely. Right? It's extremely likely that I'm going to win the lottery on Friday. It's extremely likely. Probably isn't true, but it's extremely likely. Anyway, that's me jumping off a bit. Okay, so there is research over with. There it is. It's all done. I don't need to go any further. NASA's explained it all for us. It's all here. There. It's done. That's the shortest video research I've ever done. There you go. Look, it's all here. All these people have said it. So why do I need to go any further? Yeah, right. Not going to happen with me. Even if it is 100% true, I want to find out if it's actually for real. So I'll start off with the first organisation listed, as this may be able to explain more. So here we have is the American Association for the Advancement of Science. So here we are at the website, and you're probably thinking, how the hell do I know that's this? Well, there's this bit down here. American Association for the Advancement of Science. It would be nice if that was at the top, wouldn't it? Most people put things at the... Anyway, that's beside the point. And this is what we know from their uploads. So you can look at this if you want to. There's quite a lot to it. I'll scroll through. I'm not going to pause at it. You can basically just go to this website and you can find it all there. There it is. There's loads. There's quite a lot there. A lot of blurb. So on page 2, or if you're using this reader like I am, page 4. So there's page 1. There's page 2. Okay. So here it is. So let us be clear. Based on well-established evidence, about 90% of climate scientists conclude that humans are changing the climate. That's what I said on NASA, I didn't say are. This widespread agreement is documented not by a single study, but by a convergent stream of evidence over the past 2 decades from polls of scientists, content analysis of peer-reviewed literature, and from public statements issued by virtually every expert scientific membership organisation on the topic. So we have some links to look at. They're here. 3.6, 4.5, and 7. And there was a 6 somewhere. I can't remember what the 6. Oh, there's 3, 6, 4, 5. And you can scroll down to the bottom and you can find the. Where is it? You can find the things here. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yeah, well, we've already been there, so we don't need to go back there again. So there we go. So I'm going to actually look at the first that mentions this poll, which was 4 to 5. Yeah, this bit here, 4 and 5. So the first one we'll look at here is 4, and it actually gives you the link to it. Wiley.com. So let's go and have a look at that one. So here we are. This is Wiley, and there it is there. It's definitely the right one. The author stated in the AAS one. PDF are also located on the Wiley website. So there's Peter Duran and Maggie. Let me just scroll back here. I've still got it on here. Duran and Zimmerman and Duran P. Duran Zimmerman. So they're definitely, this is the right one. So it's not like I've not found one. In the reference, it actually states it was from 2009. I'll go back here and I'll show you. So it says 2009 there, but here it says 2011. So I was kind of curious if this is actually a legit, what this site is. So it's definitely correct. AGU, Advancing Earth and Space Science. So this is definitely the website that it is linking to. So that's good. But the one where Wiley was, like I say, I couldn't see why it was only 2011. So it might have been because that may have been when it was uploaded. I don't know. So it's actually here in the PDF. So if we click on that now, we'll actually go directly to the PDF. And here it is. It's only an excerpt, so we can just minimize this a bit, I think. Here we go. There we are. So you can have a look at this if you want to. It's from the EOS Volume 19, Number 3, 20th of January 2009. So it matches, so like I said, maybe the 2011 was the upload date. So you can read this art's content, but the main bit that we're going to scroll down to is this bit here. I'll just read it out to you, but you can quite happily read it to your heart's content if you don't believe what I'm reading out. It's a bit lengthy, so I'm just going to take a sip of my old tea. An invitation to participate in the survey was sent to 10,257 Earth scientists. The database was built from Keane and Martinez 2007, which lists all geoscience faculty at reporting academic institutions along with researchers at state geological surveys associated with local universities and research, such as at US federal research facilities, example Geological Survey, NASA and NOAA, facilities, US Department of Energy, national laboratories and so forth. To maximise the response rate, the survey was designated to take less than 2 minutes to complete and was administered by a professional online survey site. that allowed one-time participation by those who received the invitation. This brief report addresses the two primary questions of the survey, which contained up to 9 questions. The full study is given by Kendall Zimmerman. When compared with pre-1800s levels, do you think that mean global temperatures have generally risen, fallen, or remained relative constant? Do you think human activity is a significant contributing, there's the word again, factor in changing mean global temperatures? With 3,146 individuals completing the survey, the participant response rate of the survey was 30.7. It's a typical response rate for web-based surveys. Of our survey participants, 90% were from US institutions, 6% were from Canadian institutions, the remaining 4% were from institutions in 21 other nations. More than 90% of participants had PhDs and 7% had master's degrees. With survey participants asked to select a single category, the most common areas of expertise reported were geochemistry at 15.5%, geophysics at 12%, and oceanography at 10.5%. General geology, hydrology and hydrogeology, and paleontology each accounted for 5 to 7% of the total respondents. Approximately 5% of the respondents were climate scientists, and 8.5% of the respondents indicated that more than 50% of their peer-reviewed publications in the past 5 years have been on the subject of climate change. While the respondents' names are kept private, the author noted that the survey included participants with well-documented dissenting opinions on global warming theory. Results show that overall 90% of participants answered risen to question 1 and 82% answered yes to question 2. In general, as the level of active research and specialization in climate science increases, so does agreement with the 2 primary questions, which is this figure here. In our survey, the most specialised and knowledgeable respondents with regard to climate change are those who listed climate science as their area's expertise and who have also published more than 50% of the recent peer-reviewed papers on the subject of climate change, 79 individuals in total. Of these specialists, 96.2%, 76 of 79 answered risen to question 1, and 97.4%, 75 out of 77, answered yes to question 2. This is in contrast to the result of a recent Gallup poll that suggests that only 58% of the general public would answer yes to our question 2. The 2 areas of expertise in the survey with the smallest percentage of participants answering yes to question 2 were economic geology with 47% and meteorology with 64%. It seems that the debate on the authenticity of global warming and the role played by human activity is largely non-existent among those who understand the nuances and scientific basis of long-term climate processes. The challenge rather appears to be how to effectively communicate this fact to policymakers and to a public that continues to mistakenly perceive debate among scientists. There we go. So what can we actually get from this? Let's go over to the top again. So it was firstly sent to 10,257 Earth scientists, compiled from a database by Kina Martinez. So I haven't found it, but I can show you what it looks like. So here it is. Oh, it's actually got I looked a couple of days ago and there wasn't one, but this is the original one from 2007. So you can get the latest versions of this thing. I can't seem to find it in the UK, probably because it's an American company or American book. But you can, if you're American, you can buy it, and you could probably get it from some other places as well. There's no reviews, surprisingly enough, but that is the 2007 edition. But apparently in there is the database. There you go. So it even tells you their names, the phone numbers and stuff like that. It's a pretty good database in my mind. So let's go back here. However, one thing stands out. Remember, 97% of scientists agree. But the database, the database is only US scientists. It says it here, US scientists. Well, what about all those other countries out there? Pretty sure the UK has some boffins that are up in the same ranks as the US. And where are the scientists from, as in work? Well, according to the survey, lost the wording now. The database was built from Keenan Martinez, which lists all geoscience faculty at reporting academic institutions, along with researchers at state geological surveys associated with local universities and researchers at US federal research facilities, US Department of Energy, and so forth. So universities, that's fine. US federal research like NASA, NOAA, and the Department of Energy. But these ones are all government run. Sure, some people inside do what they can, but in the end it's a federal research facility. You're not going to tell your boss that you don't agree with what you work on, otherwise you're going to be out of a job. Now these aren't your local schools, or the guy that's retired but still published papers. So straight from the off, it's kind of skewed in my mind. Not maybe the universities, but the others. Then the survey was created, so it only took 2 minutes to fill in. Why? On something so important that will change the world in regards of economy, living, various other things, why only 2 minutes? We've all seen those types of surveys. We get them at work now and then, and you just click any old thing just to get to the end and get back to your actual job. Anyway, back to this article. Apparently the result that we're holding on with bated breath from the US only scientists was based on just 2 of the 9 questions. Well, what was the point of the other 7? Couldn't they have just expanded on the 2? So the number 1 was, when compared with pre-1800 levels, do you think that mean global temperatures have generally risen, fallen, or remained relatively constant? And do you think human activity is a significant contributing factor in changing mean global temperatures? Like I said, it's that same word again, a significant contributing factor. Not the main reason, but a contributing factor. So it explains where the famous 97% comes from. My mouse has just gone weird. Sorry about this. So yeah, so it says where the 97% comes from further back down here. But first it gives some statistics to explain how many completed, what fields, and what relates to. So again, let's put this here for ease of use. That's enough. I've already read my article here, as it were. And see who said what. So to begin with, the overall response rate, with 3,146 individuals complete the survey, the participant response rate for the survey was 30.7%. This is typical response rate for web-based surveys. Awesome. So, as we already found out earlier, not that many actually took part, and that number was a staggering 30.7%. Wow. Fantastic. Can tell it's in everybody's mind that this really needs to be looked at in great depth. Next, where they're from. Of our survey participants, 90% were from US institutions and 6% from Canadian institutions. The remaining 4% were from institutions in 21 other nations. Interesting. What I mean by this is the fact that the database that it was taken from was US. So who or where were the others in Canada, the 6%, and the 21 other nations, a staggering 4%. Whoa. Those numbers are just huge. Who knows, as they don't say. But when people start touting it's a worldwide survey, just remember, outside of the US, only 6% were Canadian and 4% from 21, that's 21 other nations. Not really a worldwide result in my eyes. Now we all know they were intellectual because it says that more than 90% of participants had PhDs and 7% had master's degrees. But a PhD master's isn't only for people that can do complex stuff and be of a certain caliber that only 1% of the entire world can do. People have these in many fields from all walks of life. Maybe some were professors, but apparently not. Now, what were their jobs? Where is it now? There it is. With survey participants asked to select a single category, the most common areas of expertise reported were geochemistry, geophysics and oceanography. General geology, hydrology and hydrogeology and paleontology each accounted 5 to 7% of the total respondents. Approximately 5% of the respondents were climate scientists, and 8.5% of the respondents indicated that more than 50% of their peer-reviewed publications in the past 5 years have been on the subject of climate change. While the respondents' names are kept private, the authors noted that the survey included participants with well-documented dissenting opinions on global warming theory. So there's a decent spread of roles there. Not all in one area, so that's a good thing. And the one thing that you notice there is the publications. Now, if someone is peer reviewing your paper on, say, I don't know, ants and their migrating habits, and that reviewer doesn't agree to your theory, or the editor doesn't agree to put it forward for peer reviews, or they don't even agree on your theory, then don't get published, no matter if you have proof or not. Sounds fair, doesn't it? Let's have a look at that detailed description and see what it means. So here we are on Wiley's, and it's the peer review process, summarised into 10 steps. Yeah. So it tells you a bit more about it here if you want to have a look at it. So if you look at the second line down here, if the editor rejects it, that's it. Stops. So you could create a paper on the climate change that's different to this, or like I say, the migrational habits of ants, and the editor looks at it and goes, I'm going to reject that. So it didn't get done. Again, it could go here. It's edited. It's looked at the editor, because there it's not even assessed. It's not even reviewed. It's just looked at. And it's like, oh, we're not bothered with that rubbish. Reject that one. Comes here, goes to reviews, and it's like, okay, let's have a look at it. Yeah. Now get rid of it. Peer review papers don't mean diddly squat. If all papers got published, and then we the humans could have a look at them, so be it. But you know. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back to the article in hand. Here we go. Results show that overall 90% of participants answered risen to question 1 and 82% answered yes to question 2. In general, as the level of active research and specialisation in climate science increases, so does agreement with the 2 primary questions. Well, yeah, that backs up what they said above. But remember those poor people that can't get past the rejection on peer reviewing? Looks like they're about 78%. So these people, where are they? So this is the general public. This is the non-publishers. So these people don't count. Get rid of them. The public don't matter, and these people they could have published some papers, but it doesn't really matter because we can't count them. Where is it now? I mentioned a bit about there it is. In our survey, the most specialised and knowledgeable respondents with regard to climate change are those who listed climate science as their area of expertise, and who also have published more than 50%, not 100, of their recent peer-reviewed papers on the subject of climate change. 79 individuals in total. 79 individuals. Wow, that's a big number out of the 3,146 that replied. So, quick maths, and yes, I can do maths. I've not had a peer-reviewed paper, so maybe not as knowledgeable as these people. That is a staggering 2.5% of all the respondents that was most specialised. Okay, let's round it all to make it a bit bigger. 3%. Of these specialists, a bit down here, 96.2%, 76 out of 79 answered risen to question 1, and 97.4%, 75 out of 77 answered yes to question 2. This is in contrast to a recent Gallup poll that suggests only 58% of the general public would answer yes to our question 2. So, hang on, let's take a look at that poll. Let's see if it lists any of them, how many of the ghastly public don't agree with those 79 people. Now, it's an interesting poll. I think it was updated yearly. You'll see in a second. It seems to have dates from 1985 all the way up to present times. And remember that this survey was originally done in 2009. Well, according to the website, it's actually typically 1,000 people. Okay, so here we are. How many people are interviewed in a typical World Pulse survey? 1,000 individuals. I can't find the Gallup poll again. I had found it and then I can't find it again. So it's one of those things that you find and then it disappears off your eyeballs again. So let me get this right. On the original survey, only 34% of people replied, and out of that they looked at only 2 of the questions, and really only looked at 79 people. But a Gallup poll is 1,000 people and they all answer? Yeah, that sounds a bit bad from that far better than those 79 people. The 2 areas of expertise in the survey with the smallest percentage of participants answering yes to question 2 were economic geology with 47% and meteorology with 64%. Oh, okay, so still some Earth type stuff, so it looks, oh, that's fine. It seems that the debate on the authenticity of global warming and the role played by human activity is largely non-existent among those who understand the nuances and scientific bases of long-term climate processes. The challenge, rather, appears to be how to effectively communicate this fact to policymakers and to a policy public that continues to mistakenly perceive debate among scientists. And that's the end of what they type. So, wait, hang on, something's not right here. I'm going to back up a bit. Wait. According to this graph, 90% said risen to question 1. That's what they said before, didn't they? Where was it? 90% answered risen to question 1. And 82% answered yes to question 2. Hang on. 90% said 1. So are you telling me that the 97% there actually only comes from 75 out of 77 people? That were deemed specialists? We'll have these people. So 75 people in the entire world said it was 97%, or got to 97%, and therefore there's your number. From 75 people. 75 people. Awesome. Fantastic. Puts my faith in the world already. Anyway, hopefully you like this bit of research. Apart from obtaining the book and narrowing, well, I don't think I'll be able to narrow it down completely because there's a lot of people in that book and I have to, try to decipher it all down. Like I say, that's nigh impossible. We'll have to content ourselves with what there is. But why not do a new survey for all scientists from any nation, see what the outcome is? From every single nation. You could send it to all the universities where there's people that does, meteorology or whatever. They don't have to have peer-reviewed paper. There could be any of them. From every country in the world. Also the institutions, if you really want to. Like meteorology and all this business. You could put them all in and just say, look, it's going to be, I don't know, 50,000 people are going to reply. Well, there you go. And everybody has to reply. Now, I'm actually going to look at this in more depth eventually. I'm not going to do it now, but I'm going to do another bit of research later. Because of question 2. There's question 2 again. Is it question 2? No, question 1. When compared with pre-1800 levels, do you think that mean global temperatures have generally risen, fallen, or remained constant? So, can we find out what the values are all the way back to before 1800? If not, what dates can we find? Where from? And do all the values match? And can we plot them all? And like I said, this will take some time, so I'll probably go from go down many websites, get all the values, tot them all up and see if they match the same graph. If the graph kind of goes like this, goes up like that or goes down or whatever. It will be a extra bit of research, and I'll release it as a lot later date. But I'm curious because that's my question. Pre-1800s. I mean, the fact you've only got 2 minutes to answer 7 questions or what it was, and out of that you only looked at 2. Did they have time to look at the pre-1800 levels? You know? I mean, if somebody sent me a survey and it said the same sort of thing, pre-1800 levels do you think is risen? I'd be like, well, I don't know. What are the levels? Can we have a look? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Because they're obviously a bit warmer. I don't know what the levels were back then. Anyway, as usual, please subscribe. Subscribe if you want to. I've got my YouTube video, as I say. There's also got this on my website here, so you obviously can't subscribe to that. The article is here if you want to look at it. All the links to all the websites are in the article. So it's very easy for you to have a look at the websites yourself. In fact, I implore people to have a look at them, because this is the thing. I know they have done other surveys since, some smaller surveys again, like with 500 people again, but this is the famous 97%, and that's off NASA's website. This is where it comes from. So if it comes from NASA and all those others, this will be the same thing. This is where it all comes from. This is where the 97% comes from. And so when you look at it, it's just like, well, so the 97% comes from 75 people in the entire world, in America. Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful, absolutely fantastic. You know, it don't matter which way if you're with climate change or against climate change, it doesn't matter. It's the number, and the numbers don't lie. So if you're completely agreeing that climate change is happening, then it'd be interesting if you actually looked at this and thought, well, hang on a minute, whoa, maybe it's not rising as much as we think it is. It's rising, but we need to get a better understanding of it so we can start spouting it a bit easier. And vice versa if you're against it. I'm always on the fence with everything when I do my research. Got my ideas and stuff. Anyway, thank you for watching, and yeah, okay, goodbye.